I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh!
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time.
It was just, what?
In the last 6 rounds with AJ, in my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3.
But when you take care of me forever and ever.
When Anthony Joshua finally closed the show with a devastating 6th round stoppage, ending Jake Paul's run in their much-hyped heavyweight clash, Joe Rogan's live response summed up the scale of the moment. Having repeatedly cautioned about the danger of Joshua's knockout power, Rogan reacted instantly as the punch landed, treating it as more than a routine finish. In his view, it was the kind of ending that transcends a single bout, a violent, unforgettable strike that could be remembered among the most punishing knockouts the sport has produced.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided.
The fight, promoted as a defining moment, was scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Joshua entering as a strong favorite based on his championship resume and physical advantages. At 6'6" and roughly 243 pounds, Joshua outweighed Paul, who came in around 216 pounds. After a cautious opening stretch, Joshua began asserting himself as the bout progressed. Momentum shifted decisively in the 5th round, when Paul was dropped multiple times. The end came in the 6th, when Joshua landed a thunderous right hand that sent Paul down hard, prompting the referee to halt the contest at 131 the round.
Anthony Joshua. Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career to go.
The Anthony Joshua-Jake Paul matchup became one of the year's most discussed bouts, driven not only by the fighters' profiles, but by how clearly it highlighted the divide between established heavyweight boxing and the influence-empowered era of the sport.
Performance by Jake, brother. Come on, bro. You're a fucking legend for that. He had such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Josh was a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua, one of the best in the world, so I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times?
No, it was sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro. The overhand right. Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are gonna say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
You showed a ton of heart, right? Ton of heart. What's next for Jake Paul? Where does he go?
Joshua, a former 2-time unified heavyweight title holder, came into the contest as an overwhelming favorite. Paul, who transitioned from online stardom into professional boxing, had successfully drawn new attention to the sport, even as traditionalists questioned his resume. Still, very few observers genuinely expected him to withstand the kind of power that defines the heavyweight elite.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was gonna win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight, even Rosendo, my boxing coach. I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City, and I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? what safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to give credit.
Joshua struck a candid tone when reflecting on the fight. Despite securing a 6th-round knockout, he acknowledged that the performance didn't meet his own standards. He admitted that finding clean openings early proved difficult, and that he was unable to trap Paul as quickly as anticipated. While he counted the result as a victory, Joshua was clear that it wasn't a complete success in his eyes, stressing that there is still significant room for improvement moving forward.
There is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or...
Even in victory, Joshua made sure to recognize Paul's toughness. While the fight ended with a 6th-round stoppage, he praised Paul for his determination, noting how he continued to rise after being knocked down and kept pressing forward against a vastly more experienced former world champion. Joshua added that few fighters would willingly accept a challenge at that level, and said Paul's refusal to quit under pressure earned his respect.
AJ's won 6 rounds. He kind of dismantled him. He took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean,
Well,
I
he
know
broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know it knocked him out,
Knocked
but he
his
was
teeth
not
out.
unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from it. If he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back
Well,
from.
there's pictures of him in hospital right
Yeah,
now.
well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't, I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual
Is that how
work.
you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back.
Paul sustained a fractured jaw during the 6th-round stoppage. After Joshua connected with a decisive right hand that brought the fight to an end, Paul was visibly bloodied and told interviewers afterward that he believed his jaw had been broken, a diagnosis that was later confirmed.
What's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man.
Yeah,
I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took one.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, obviously, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring to bring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one
Bro, I'm
point.
just trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying that, actually. I love AJ.
Yeah.
But bro,
I saw you going
game,
to
fight game. I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw.
Paul responded in familiar defiant fashion, posting an image of his x-ray that revealed fractures on both sides of his jaw. Alongside it, he joked, "Double broken jaw, gimme Canelo in 10 days," leaning into bravado that has defined much of his public persona. Medical imaging later confirmed the damage, showing breaks in 2 locations. Despite the injury, Paul reportedly drove himself to the hospital following the fight to receive treatment. Doctors estimated a recovery window of roughly 4 to 6 weeks. In the days that followed, Paul shared additional updates online, confirming the diagnosis and thanking supporters for standing by him.
Nikita, just down here, Jeffrey from The Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA. And I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to is.
Nikita Badarian spoke positively about Paul's toughness, preparation, and overall approach, saying he performed admirably against one of the heavyweight division's most dangerous punchers. He suggested that Paul may have even taken a few of the early rounds. Badarian stressed, however, that the decisive factor wasn't a gap in boxing skill, but a pronounced physical disparity. Joshua's greater size and strength steadily drained Paul's energy and created openings for the heavy shots that eventually ended the fight. According to Badarian, that physical advantage wore Paul down over time, and he made it clear that Paul's effort merited respect despite the loss.
What happened? And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has, but I think he might have won a round or two or even three. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's gonna fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, what do you think? She goes, Jake's gonna win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do. That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money, but we want to put on the best brand for these fighters to show the world.
Several fighters gave Paul credit for his willingness to face a former heavyweight champion and for surviving into the 6th round despite clear disadvantages in size and experience. They noted that he displayed grit and resolve. Even though the fight ended in a knockout, Eddie Hearn offered a more restrained assessment, acknowledging Paul's toughness while maintaining that the result was largely predictable. In his view, very few people truly believe Paul could go deep against a boxer of Anthony Joshua's level.
Good. I mean, first 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring and, you know, you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, yeah, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, you know, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. But we're friends now, so respect to him.
And your message for
Fury, listen, we'll see you.
Following the bout, Ryan Garcia added to the conversation with a pointed social media response that quickly circulated through boxing circles. While acknowledging Paul's willingness to step up, Garcia drew a sharp comparison to Gervonta Davis, suggesting that Davis would oppose an even more severe challenge. In his post, Garcia implied that Paul would face a quicker or more punishing outcome against that level of opposition. That sentiment echoed a broader reaction among analysts, many of whom argued that the matchup fell outside the boundaries of elite-level boxing. Even after the final bell, debate around the fight continued, with critics maintaining that a contest between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul should never have been sanctioned in the first place.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing, and we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, you know, cannot get out of its way anyway?
What's your take on the matchup? Did it represent a meaningful test of ability, or was it more spectacle than sport? Share your thoughts in the comments below.